I'm sure I've said it before. I don't want to go back and watch all the videos that I made, but I am never picking against Tom Brady against the Bills ever again. As long as Tom Brady plays for the Patriots, whenever they play the Bills, I am picking the Patriots. I just feel like I've said that before, and now I just feel like an idiot. I feel like an idiot for going against it this past week because, as you all are aware, the Bills lost to the Patriots again. 40-32, Tom Brady went off and had one of the best days he's ever had, I guess. Pretty standard for him against the Bills. The defense was completely helpless. And the difference between the Bills and the Patriots was on display. It's Tom Brady. The difference is Tom Brady, and it always has been. There's nobody that sees the field better. There's nobody that's able to get a pre-snap read better, and he takes that pre-snap read, he finds the one-on-one matchups, and he attacks them, and he trusts his guys to win them. And it doesn't matter if it's Gronk, if it's Edelman, if it's Aaron Dobson, if it's Dion Lewis, whoever. They find the mismatch and they exploit it. It's unbelievable. That's why they win so many games. Sure, say what you want about cheating. I'm pretty convinced they've cheated at some point in the past. I'm convinced of it. You can't tell me that they didn't. I'm not convinced Tom Brady had no knowledge of deflating footballs. That's the bottom line. I'm not convinced of that. You'll never ever convince me that he was not aware of what was going on. But it really doesn't matter because you saw it. I mean, you saw it on Sunday. You watched the game, you saw it. To have that ability to, and trust in your players to win one-on-one matchups. You have the accuracy and the touch to put on your throws. It's borderline unstoppable. He puts the ball in the right place for those one-on-one matchups, gives his guys the best chance of coming down with the football, and that's why they're successful. When you have a player of his caliber, why would you ever run the football? I mean, the Patriots on Sunday attempted a pass on 61 of 75 offensive plays. 61 of 72 if you don't count 3 kneel downs. They only had 10 rushing attempts by running backs. 10. 4 Patriots had at least 6 catches. They all had it. All of those 4 had at least 87 yards receiving. The defense just wasn't up to the task. They were spread out by the Pats offense. They were unable to disguise their blitzes or their coverages because of how spread out they were, and that is uncharacteristic of a Rex Ryan style of defense. And it was, I don't know, for Rex to have said that the game plan for that has been ready for months and then to come out and allow 40 points, it's disappointing. I mean, I still believe in you, Rex, obviously. It's only the game 2. Belichick and Brady have had just about everybody's number. So I don't blame you. I guess I sort of do blame you for that, but I'm not, I was mad at the time. I'm over it. We don't play Tom Brady 16 times a year. He seems, once again, like he's on some sort of mission to just prove everyone in the league wrong because he's pissed off about the whole Deflategate thing, and watch out. Like I said, why run the ball when you have him? I don't get it. There's no reason to. Just throw on every play. They did that in the Super Bowl and they won it pretty much. So I know I've talked about this before. So we were just the next victim, I suppose. God help the Jacksonville Jaguars on Sunday. From the Bills' perspective, like I said, they weren't able to disguise. They were lost one-on-one matchups. The penalties obviously didn't help. They let their temper get the best of them. It might be some sort of wake-up call in that sense that, hey, you guys aren't as sweet as you thought you were, clearly. Like, yeah, you had a good game against Andrew Luck, but then Tom Brady comes in here and just hangs 40 on you. I'm okay with Rex instilling that confidence in his team, but through the media and what have you. But that's enough for now. That's enough. Defensively, again, all the tackle leaders, aside from Preston Brown, were pretty much secondary members, which just goes to show you that guys are getting into the second level, passing the football, guys are catching passes and getting tackled by the secondary. So you're obviously allowing a lot of completions. They did 38 or something absurd like that. It was crazy. Offensively, Bill started with a pretty incredible drive. They got up 7-0. Fans were running wild, but we were pretty outmatched after that. The Pats did what they could to keep Tyrod in the pocket, and that worked out pretty well. Because I think what you can see is that Tyrod excels on the run, obviously with his legs, but when he gets outside the pocket, he's pretty magnificent with the football. He makes pretty good throws. Guys break open because you can't just cover people forever, and when he's that difficult to sack and tackle and bring down outside the pocket, especially because you have to respect his legs, coverages are going to break down and guys are going to run free, and he does a good job of finding them. So that's why the Patriots did what they could to keep him within the pocket, and they sacked him 8 times. They forced a couple of fumbles, didn't recover any, but they forced 3 interceptions on two on a couple of high throws that were tipped. The one at the end of the half, I'm not making a big deal out of it. Tyrod was on the run and looked like he just fired up. Like it's almost the same thing as a punt. It was 3rd and 14. They could have got in the field goal range and got a field goal at the end of the half, I suppose. But I wish it was closer to Woods. Woods was pretty open, but Tyrod was rolling left. Would have had to throw it all the way to the right. It was impossible. It was an impossible throw. From within the pocket, it just looked like Tyrod really didn't trust what he was reading. And he didn't want to. He looked hesitant to take a couple of shots, except towards the end there. But you got to credit New England. You have to. That their game plan was better than ours. Plain and simple. The comeback was a little bit too little, too late. I was still encouraged by it. They kept fighting. It was just you had the ball with one score down 1 score with 1:15 to go, no timeouts. That ball hit Sammy in the hand. Should he catch it? Maybe. I digress. 1-1. Playing the Dolphins this week. It's Miami's home opener in week 3. They are coming off a loss to Jacksonville. They lost 23-20. They beat Washington 17-10 in week 1. Blake Bortles just roughed them up for 273 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Huge day for Allen Robinson. He had over 150 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns. The Miami defense produced no sacks against Jacksonville, no turnovers. They allowed 396 total yards. They only have 1 sack through 2 games, and that's not what you'd expect from Ndamukong Suh and Cameron Wake. Cameron Wake has not registered anything on a stat sheet. He has no tackles, no passes defended, or knockdowns, forced fumbles, anything. 0. He has 0s across the board for 2 games. So maybe that'll change, but at the same time, where is he? They still have some talent on defense. Brent Grimes and Bryce McCain are a couple of decent corners. Brent Grimes definitely the better of the 2, but Allen Robinson just went off for 150 yards. So what does that say? Rashad Jones, I think he's a pretty decent safety. The linebackers are Jelani Jenkins, Cole Messi, and Kelvin Shepard. Remember that name? And those guys let Alfred Morris get loose in week 1. They're allowing 142 rushing yards per game through the first 2 weeks. So the Bills, who want to go with this ground and pound style of attack, and McCoy ran a lot better, I thought, against the Patriots. Obviously, he got up 15 carries for 89 yards or something like that. This might be the way the Bills want to go. I know it's the way they want to go. Maybe it's just something that they can be successful with. I hope, obviously. The Dolphins have had trouble running the ball themselves. They are averaging only 58 rushing yards per game. We don't know if Lamar Miller is healthy. He missed practice on Wednesday. He insists he's all right and said he could have went back to the game on Sunday. He only had 10 carries for 14 yards, I believe, at that point when he left with what he says is a minor ankle injury. But if he doesn't play, it's probably going to be Jonas Gray, who they just signed off the practice squad. And he'll always have the night in Indy, that one night in Indianapolis. It's a 30 for 30. Mark it down. I can't come up with a good title. Oh, a good what if I told you. But you get the point. Tannehill's been solid for Miami. He has 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. His quarterback rating is just over 100. He's been sacked 5 times, which they've always had trouble doing, is protecting him. And he is a bit of a threat to run. If he gets out of the pocket, he can pick up first downs with his legs. Just like, he's not as fast as Tyrod, but that threat is still there. So, what weapons does he have? Oh, yeah. He has, well, Jordan Cameron, obviously, Greg Jennings, Kenny Stills, but his best player, even last year, is Jarvis Landry. Jarvis Landry doesn't get enough love for being Odell Beckham's counterpart at LSU. Those guys were total studs at LSU. They're both total studs now, and I hate that Jarvis Landry plays for Miami. He's had at least 8 catches in both games so far. He is completely fearless over the middle. He can run after the catch. He can catch screen passes. He can return punts. He's like Steve Smith to me. Like Steve Smith was in his prime of his career. That's Jarvis Landry to me. I think it's a really good comparison. So the Bills need to get to Tannehill, as they usually tend to do. Tannehill's 2-4 against the Bills in his career. Both of those wins did come in Miami. They had one last year, but the Bills showed absolutely nothing on offense in that game. Man, that was painful to watch. You guys remember that Thursday night game where Mario came to play, had 3 or 4 sacks. Defense allowed 22 points, but that's 5 field goals and 1 touchdown. Is that how it went? I remember Jarvis Landry scoring a touchdown. It was like 9-6 for a while or something like that. It was a disgusting game. Thursday Night Football tends to be, for the most part. And Kyle Orton was terrible. The Bills were not good. Bryce Brown, I believe, started the game at running back. He's not on the team anymore. Kyle Orton's not on the team anymore. So hey, maybe this all spells good things. What do the Bills need to do? The offensive line obviously needs to hold up against Ndamukong Suh and Cameron Wake. And even though Tyrod sort of held on to the ball too long, I know that number of sacks is inflated last week of 8. I think is inflated because Tyrod was holding on to the ball a little bit too long because he wasn't trusting his reads. But still, you can't have Ndamukong Suh just flying through. He's probably going to anyway. He's borderline unblockable. So he's probably just going to be flying through. You can't have him flying through. I'm sorry. You can't have him flying through Eric Wood and Incognito. Incognito, something to play for against Miami, the team that cut him. The whole, bullying scandal. And Charles Clay will probably want something to prove against. Although he could have re-signed to Miami, he just chose to come to the Bills for more money. So there's a couple other side storylines there. But block Suh, block Wake. Success running the ball. That's probably the key to me, is you got to have success running the football. The Dolphins aren't good at running the ball themselves, so it goes without saying the defense has to be better than they were last week. They got thrashed last week. So make Tannehill beat you, I guess. Right? That's what you want to pressure Tannehill, get in his face. That's what we've done. That's how we've beat him in the past. So I would expect them to throw a lot of different looks at him. This is huge, guys. This is a division game. The Pats are obviously out to a 2-0 start. The Jets are 2-0 with Chan Gailey and Ryan Fitzpatrick. Unbelievable. Dolphins are 1-1, so if the Bills lose this game, they fall to 1-2. The Dolphins are 2-1. The Pats probably going to beat Jacksonville. They would go to 3-0. The Jets are playing Philly. Who knows? Philly's trash right now. I don't know. There's no such thing, I don't think, as a must-win game in Week 3. But you need the division games. If you're a playoff team, I think you beat Miami on the road, who in my opinion is an 8-8, 9-7 team. You beat them. So let's see. Let's come up with a prediction. Oh my God, I got to finish this video to keep in the time frame. Bills. I'm gonna pick them to lose because that's what I did with that week 1 and whatever, and then I picked. Yeah, you know what I mean. 19-17, Dolphins over Bills. I suck. I know. Tell me how much I suck. Tell me why I suck. Tell me why the Bills suck. All that crap. Guys, enjoy your weekend, and most of all, go Bills!